Good night to the Barbados Labour Party family. I'm here to speak to you and to bring you greetings from the city. And I want to tell you that the city is covered. Or what the youngsters will say, we have it unlocked. Unlocked. Mr. Grant, we had some days in the Democratic Labour Party. You spoke about the locking out. I was informed that day that my name was on the list to be locked out too. But I remained home and I watched veterans and people who work hard for the Democratic Labour Party, women, push outside of the Democratic Labour Party premises. Undine Whittaker, someone who's very dear to me and assisted me in my political development, she had to remain outside. You had women who had to go behind buildings in Belleville, could not go inside to use the toilet and go in the bathroom and wash their hands. Some people had to go behind buildings and take their medication. That was the state of affairs at the Democratic Labour Party. I remained at home because no one would subject me to that type of treatment. And so I watched the Democratic Labour Party going further and further down the drain. And you know, a couple weeks thereafter, I received a letter from someone in the Democratic Labour Party inviting me to come before a committee and show my worth as a candidate. But what amazed me at the time is that the committee had on people like Andrea Worrell, who never ever win a seat in Barbados. People like Kenny Best, a one-timer. There had people in there that ran in the election, 2022 election, and got five votes in the box. And they sent out this letter to go before this committee to be cross-examined as to how I will be able to win a seat. But I turned down the invitation because I view it as an insult. And I said to myself, I will step back from politics and concentrate on my law practice and assist the country in any way I can. And so it happened that one day, as you know, Barbados, we were going through a spate of gun violence and of violent crimes in this country. And I was asked by the leader of this party if I'd be able to come and sit on a council, a Citizen Advisory Security Council, charged with responsibility of ensuring that Barbados is a safe place to exist in. And so, when I was asked, I took the opportunity, because there comes a time when you have to put country first. And if you have something to offer the country, you must offer your services to a country that is being threatened by violence, not only gun violence, but very serious violent crimes. The committee was established, and we met over time, and we had a view of modernizing the criminal justice system in Barbados. And I want to say to the young men out here that I am of the view that when we're speaking about criminal justice reform, not only should we deal with first-time offenders, but those persons who came into contact or come into contact with the criminal justice system very often, that we must work with them. And that reform also involves rehabilitation. And they always say that young men deserve a second chance. And we cannot write them off. And also, the victims of crimes, too, we must not forget. Because we must bring that into the midst, too. And so, criminal justice reform, I must say, came to the forefront of this government's agenda. And the reason I say that, because of the Prime Minister's vision to ensure not only cutting the backlog of cases, but ensuring that we have cases running smoothly through the criminal justice system, that there are no delays, and that we have to confront the backlog of cases in this country. Because I want to say to you that speedy trials redound to a reduction in crime. And not only that, persons who believe that they have a good case, instead of spending years of remand, that once we have a speedy case, innocent people can now get out of prison or get out of remand in a very quick manner. But the criminal justice reform, this government must be applauded for their approach of how they dealt with criminal justice reform in this country. And I would say to you that as a practitioner, I have never seen so much consultations with stakeholders, because many a day we got notices that there's no court today, but all persons who are involved in the criminal practice must go to either Sherburne, someplace up there, you go to some hotel, go to St. Philip, and you have consultations with the Attorney General and all stakeholders, probation officers, police prosecutors, in order to enhance and develop the criminal justice system. But it didn't stop there. It did not stop there. The government of the day, through pieces of legislation, improved the criminal justice system. I want to say to you that at the time when it came into practice, the number of judges existing in the court system, that is the criminal justice system, we only had about 3 courts or so. And I want to say to you that this government has increased the number of judges from 2 to 8. And what has resulted is that we recognize that the backlog of cases that they're going down and down and down and down. And we must applaud the government for that. And what has happened, and for the first time in Barbados, we've had not only trial by jury, but judge-alone trials. First time in the history of Barbados that this government has enacted trial by judge alone. We have increased the amount of prosecutors in the criminal justice system, thereby enhancing, and not only that, because if you expand the judges, you have to expand the prosecutors. We also, in fact, the prosecutors have been increased to 16 prosecutors. When I was there, it was only about 8 or 7. About 16 prosecutors. I want to say to you that the attempt and the approach by this government to enhancing and reform the criminal justice system, we must give them high marks. And the reason I say that, because I know from my experience of the delays in the criminal justice system. I know for a fact that when the government amended the Juries Act, it was done for a good purpose. Because if you have a 12-member jury and the man facing a murder charge, and that one juror or 3 jurors decide that they're unfit, or one decide that they can't sit anymore, somebody's sick, somebody got a medical appointment, the trial got to stop. And what we have done, we have amended the Juries Act, and you have now a body of alternate jurors that can now, once they are selected, and those 3 jurors or 4 jurors are displaced by injury, by medical reasons, or some other reason, legitimate reasons, you can now pull from those four jurors to continue the trial. So the trial don't have to be stopped. And that is why I say that is a vision, a visionary approach. And when we talk about modernizing the criminal justice system, then the amendment to the Juries Act, to my mind, falls right there in the place of the modernization of the criminal justice system. We have amended the Bail Act to make the Bail Act more grounded and more rounded. Not only providing reasons for the refusal of bail, but also give reasons, but also the duty and the obligation, whether it's a police prosecutor or a state prosecutor, to give strong reasons why someone should not be granted bail or should be granted bail respectfully. I know I have to wrap up, but I can go on and go on. They have dealt with legislation that protected witnesses of serious crimes. And the legislation now allows a witness to give evidence. Well, you don't have to be physically present, but you can give the evidence through by way of a statement in court. So that if that witness is critical to the prosecution of a matter, then the trial will still go on because the law has been amended to allow such. I got to wrap up here. But I know that the Member of Parliament for this era will be re-elected come February 11th. I want you to go to your numbers and support Trevor. He's a good man. So come out in your numbers and vote for Trevor. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.